We will try, our speaker will try to make sure that nobody is sleeping. So, and hope this is difficult task after lunch and it's good food. Great. So this is session where our speaker is going to make presentation and examine the various approaches which adopted for making a gender equitable, sensitive, responsible father. So, and all of them are very working as an academic as well as involved in research and as well as activists. So, I am going to just introduce here first Pinar from Turkey, and she is a senior education psychologist and working on the Mother and Child Education Foundation from last 6 years, and her work is parent training. So she has experience as well as involved in research work. Next, our speaker is sitting Yandisa Sukaya. Yeah, this is little difficult for me, and he is a specialist on and scientist on the gender and health research unit of MRG based in South Africa, and his main interest is bioethics and gender and masculinities. Our next speaker is Slay. So, and Slay is from White Ribbon Campaign from Canada, and he is involved from last 14 years working on advocacy for gender equality and gender justice. He is a communication manager and as well as project manager working on the mentorship program for the father and educators, and current focus is creating a positive role father what can do. So I am going to invite our first speaker, Pinar, and Pinar, you have 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So my request is complete your 20 minutes so we can have some time for discussion. And okay. So.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our session. Today I will talk about okay. Are you hearing me?
No? Oh, it's okay now. Okay. As Aker, as an NGO in Turkey, we are working with men, especially with fathers, to contribute in gender equality. And you know, during implementation, we face with many challenges. And today, I will try to share with you our experiences, our challenges, and how to deal with all these challenges. But first, let me introduce you our organization. It's ACEV and stands for Mother Child Education Foundation. It looks like an organization that's interested in only mothers and children, but it's not the case. Let me tell you the story. In 1980s, children's access to primary education was very low, nearly 9% in Turkey, and it was a very important issue in my country. So 3 academicians developed a home-centered mother support program and targeted mothers. In this program, mothers were supported to be able to provide a developmental environment for their children at their homes. And this initiative made the organization be founded. So first program was targeting mothers, and that's why the name of the organization is Mother Child Education Foundation. But not too late, just 3 years later, in 1996, our father support program was developed and started to be implemented, and also some programs for women empowerment, literacy, and early childhood education were also developed. So, what ATEV do? ATEV has been conducting research, developing and implementing programs and contributing policies in early childhood and adult education, especially with under-risk populations. And its mission is supporting every child in their early ages to help them to reach their highest possible potential. And ATEV uses different intervention methods. As you see, especially we have intensive training education programs. These are face-to-face programs. And also we have short training seminars. Sometimes we deliver some educational programs via TV. And also we have some publications and web-based resources. And we also do advocacy work and awareness-raising activities too. By incentive programs, incentive training programs, you reach a small number of people, but they are more effective compared to awareness-raising activities. Thus, our aim is both reaching as many as people as possible and making difference in people's, especially mothers, fathers' lives. And I can say that our interventions are across the lifespan. For early years, we have some preschool education programs and some campaigns. For childhood, we have parenting programs. In adolescent period, we try to empower girls. And for adults, we have some literacy programs, again empowerment programs, and women empowerment, especially in rural. And for parents, we implement programs for mothers, fathers, and we carry out some parenting seminars, and we have some campaigns, advocacy work too, for parents. So it is a brief information of our organization. And today my colleague Serkan has a poster presentation outside. If you need more information about our organization, you can visit him, Serkan. Okay. Today I will talk about especially the programs for fathers. So I want to start with thinking about the relation between becoming a father and being a man. So there is a link between masculinity and fatherhood. You know that it doesn't work. I'm so sorry. Okay. We know that there is a link between masculinity and fatherhood because people, especially men, are start life by being a man, then they become a father. They become fathers. So they transfer their traditions in their life, masculine traditions, to their fatherhood. But we know that they are very important role models for their children. So there is a transgenerational link between fathers and the next generation. So fatherhood is a very critical point to intervene. That shows us the importance of fatherhood programs for gender equality. Of course, we know that fathers' involvement in child care doesn't mean just gender equality. It is also important for child development. And also for healthier relationship between wives and husbands and also children. And also research show that fathers' involvement decreases violence towards both women and children at home and in society. So what we do is I don't know why it doesn't work. What we do is implementing a fatherhood program, Father Support Program. Advocacy by Fatherhood campaign is You Are My Father campaign. We carried out this campaign with a collaboration with yeah. Okay.
Şey büyük zaten 106 yılları var ya.
Okay. So we implement father support program, some fatherhood campaigns like You Are My Father campaign, collaboration with MenCare, and we organize some panels and workshops on the topic of fatherhood, gender equality, non-violent attitudes towards women, and we carry out some information seminars for the communities such as teachers, school managers, local authorities, other NGOs about how to provide gender equality, how to protect children from neglect and abuse, how to prevent violence. Today I will focus on Father Support Program. This program aims to use face-to-face education techniques to encourage fathers to communicate effectively with their children, to support children's development, have a reciprocity and closeness in their relationship, and to share responsibilities in their household. And the program has two versions for two age groups. For children of between 3 and 6 years and between 7 and 11 years. It has totally 15 sessions. The first 9 sessions are obligatory, and the trainers pick one from the rest and they complete to at least 10. Fathers come together once a week, and each session takes 2.5 hours. Also, the program includes 2 mother sessions, and attendance of the fathers is totally voluntary and free of charge, of course. Okay. And we have a structured trainer manual. You can see here, and you can look at it. And the trainers are usually preschool teachers, school counselors, and primary school teachers. So the program is implemented at schools in a widespread manner. Its content consists of 3 themes, basically: communication with child and the people at home, and triggering methods. And also it consists of what are the roles of fathers in children's lives, and what kind of attitudes they already have to have a better relationship with their children. And it also includes some information about child development and how to provide a supporting environment for children. And while we are talking about these issues, we deliver messages about gender equality, such as importance of gender equality, such as importance of providing equal opportunities for both girls and boys, and negative effects of violence on children and women. We also make an effort to build peaceful environments at their homes and also in society by talking about communication and empathy and respect for diversity. Additionally, protecting of children by providing an environment that supports child development and preventing neglect and abuse is always on our agenda while implementing the program. Okay. So, of course, it is not easy to implement such a kind of program, because on the way we face with a lot of challenges. maybe it is easy to answer the questions of what, but it is not easy to find answers when we are asked how. For instance, we can ask that, how will we find participants for the program? How we will make fathers continue attending to the program? How will we ensure the quality of the program? And how will we provide sustainability? These are difficult questions. As AÇEV, to be able to answer these questions, we have an approach, a programmatic approach, used during implementing our programs, all programs. According to this approach, a scientific knowledge base is necessary to be able to improve and implement effective programs. We need to use data, we need to know literature very well, we need to measure impact of the program. Scientific knowledge is most important issue to be able to answer all these how questions. I mean participation of the fathers, quality of the program, and sustainability. Then, as you see, the program is developed according to beneficiary needs, and it's implemented by support of some partnerships. We need to find some financial support and human resource support, and it needs to be evaluated to check the quality, and also it should have an effect on policy. That means advocacy work. Now, let's look at all these phases and try to answer the challenges we face between each phases. Okay. The first phase is program development. We should know the target group very well first. Okay. We should know the target group very well. I mean, its dynamics, its values, its culture, between group differences, within group differences. We should all know these. For instance, we are working with men, and we should know that they don't want to be accused for being a perpetrator of violence or gender equality. They will not be willing to hear that they are expected to change their roles at home as a man in the first session. Thus, we can start with talking about their experiences at home, their experience with their fathers, and we can talk about how they influence their children's lives. So that knowing the target group very well makes things easy while developing the program. And also we should know and understand their needs. For this we need to conduct some need analysis, and we learned from our target groups that they generally face with communication problems. So we can focus on communication skills in our programs. It's also critical to keep in our mind that they are adults and they are not willing to learn something they have already been doing. I mean fatherhood. Therefore, we can use group discussions, games, case studies, role plays. I mean, we need to encourage them to actively participate in the sessions. They shouldn't be just listeners or students in these groups. Also, we should also take trainers' needs into account. The program should be trainer-friendly. I mean, it should be easy to implement. In our experiences showed us that trainers require structured programs because they want to know what to do and how to do very clearly. So all these play an important role in ensuring participation of men to father support groups. Let's talk about program implementation. Maybe this is the most challenging part of implementing a program. We have seen that voluntary trainers are better at reaching our goals, implementing the program effectively. Yes, it can be seen as a professional job, but still trainers who are motivated to contribute in social change and make even small change in children's lives perform better. The challenge here is how to motivate them. So we should show the positive impacts of the program by using real stories, case studies of other fathers, and we can use outcomes of our data research. And it is really important to support the trainers, especially in all steps. For instance, in the training of the trainers, with our encouraging feedback and developing their skills. And also, we should monitor them in the field. For instance, we have 2 local meetings once a year, in a year with our trainers. And also we carry out renewal and refreshment seminars for our trainers. Additionally, we use standard observational forms to monitor them in the field that are evaluated. And also we get their feedback. All of these monitoring systems improve their performance and improve at the same time quality of our programs. In order to encourage participation of fathers, we should give clear information about the program in the beginning first. And it's important what kind of language we use during implementation. There shouldn't be accusation. They need to see their roles on their children's development. And it is also essential to notice that fatherhood is an enjoyable thing and it's important. And we need to provide a safe, confident environment for them to share their own experiences. So all these play an important role to encourage participation of fathers. And another thing is collaborating with long-lasting partnerships. For instance, in Turkey, schools are the ideal places to implement our program. We can reach as many as fathers there. So Ministry of National Education is a critical partnership in Turkey for our organization. And we collaborate with the ministry for years. They provide us place and place for meetings, and they provide us some human resource as teachers, and they support the program.
20 minutes over.
Okay. Maybe I should talk about program evaluation too. We need to be sure that we are on the right track, so we need to check our impact on field, so we can make some effect analysis, and we can take feedback from trainers and participants and other experts. We should use reliable and valid measures, and we need to revise our programs, update our programs. Okay. That's all from field work. Thank you for listening. I would love to share the video, maybe.
At this time, it is little problem, so just wait.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Mina, for your excellent presentation and insights and experiences, and certainly we will discuss and the forum is open for discussion. So now I am going to invite Mr. Anita. So Anita, 20 minutes for you, and your time is start now. So please.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure for me to be given this opportunity to present before you today. My colleague Pina has spoken about the importance of evidence-based interventions and how it is important, therefore, to base our interventions that we develop on the scientific evidence. And I think that's what we are trying to do right now as my organization from the MRC in South Africa. So today I'm going to be sharing with you findings of a research that we recently completed with an aim of building an intervention with fathers in the near future. So my talk will be on masculinities that are associated with fatherhood. And our point is really in this position to argue that the data shows that there is a big challenge for gender transformative interventions. And the context of our work is urban informal settlements. So as we know from research and that urban informal settlements are often sites of high levels of unemployment, poverty, HIV, and violence. And findings even this morning, it has been shown that involved fatherhood is primarily important in challenging the dominant discourses or forms of masculinity, and it is good for the health of and well-being of children, women, mothers, and also children, the men themselves. And studies in South Africa, as is elsewhere, have shown that expressions of masculinities and cultural ideals of fatherhood, they attach considerable power to provide a masculinity. So what I'll be sharing with you today is data that we've used narratives of young men to explore how fatherhood is conceptualized in the informal settlements and the types of masculinities that we argue that were associated with successful fatherhood in that setting. So what we did was to conduct a formative qualitative research in two urban informal settlements in the Eastern Cape, Durban, South Africa, and we recruited men between the ages of 18 to 27. The majority of them were under the age of 25, and we conducted 3 focus group discussions with them and 19 in-depth interviews. And 44 men participated in the FGDs, and 19 men participated in in-depth interviews, and we used different methods to recruit these men. So this data that we collected, it was in the process of another bigger study, which was an evaluation of a combined intervention between skills and creating futures that has been completed, and the qualitative evaluation has been published in Culture, Health and Sexuality. So we did content analysis that I'll be sharing with you right now, our findings. And before I do that, I would like to do a bit of signposting where I will say that the data that I'll be sharing with, the narratives that I'll be sharing with you today are really men who are talking about their own experiences of fathering their children, their own experiences of being fathered, and what they observed in their communities about fatherhood. So there were something like 5 themes that really emerged from our data, from our analysis, and that's the things that I'll be sharing with you. And as I said, that I did the content analysis, which was thematic. So we noted in our data that there were contrasting views about the extent to which men should be involved in caring for their children and what that entails. And we see some kind of a 50-50 split, amongst our participants, but others really saying that men should be, fully involved, and be involved in the caring for their children, emotional, caring and all that, and others are feeling that that's not the job of a man to do that. And we see that in the quote that I will present from Thokozani, and he argues that a man should be involved in the caring of their children and all that. But there were also that there were men who felt that men should not be involved, and they gave varying reasons for not taking care of their children, including that men, they do not have money, which speaks to the question about men, fatherhood being closely tied to provision, financial provision. And also there was Another reason that was given that had to do with alcohol abuse. And as you see in this post here, this man is arguing that men not having enough money to, causes them not to take care of their children, which shows, their understanding of fatherhood. And also, he says that he argues that the men who were alcoholics were failing to provide to care for their children. But there was also another reason that they gave, which had to do with maternal gatekeeping, which was essentially the concept that says that mothers of the children can close access for men, for fathers into their children, and there are various reasons for that. That have been described in the literature that is published, and it includes, for example, that if a man impregnated a child out of wedlock and has not paid what dowry, or what is called in our southern region of Africa, what is called in Laos or damages. When you've impregnated, you have to go and pay the family of that of the mother, so that you can have some kind of an access to the child, to your child. But if you have not done that, you have no right to that child whatsoever. However, when we looked deeper into our data, we realized that there were dominant gender rules that were actually supporting men not to be involved in the caring of their children. Mainly there was an argument that it was a woman's domain to do that, it was not a man's domain. And also we saw that some men were arguing that, because mothers are there at home, they are mothers at home, so they have no space to play. It is the mother's role to do that. But we couldn't get a sense that they were being indifferent about not caring for their children, that they didn't care about their children. But it was the confidence that if a mother is there, then I don't need to be there as well. I don't need to play that kind of emotional or being involved at an emotional level. But there was also, because of the context that I think I will be going back to a lot in my presentation, these colleagues that we did this research was informal settlement, and mainly men were working in faraway places, due to migrant system in South Africa, where men they have to go to mines to look for jobs and all that, and women are left behind. So there was that, and it goes back many decades in South Africa, if not centuries. If not a century, sorry. So now men have grown to understand that we men, we go out and get money and send money home, and it is the duty and the responsibility of the mother to take care of the child in the more involved and caring way, which we would like to see. So another thing that we saw emerging very strongly in this data was the theme about supportive discourses about fatherhood, about involved fatherhood. And there were many men in our study who kind of supported this notion of being involved in your child's care. And they saw it as exemplary behavior, and also it was something that was mandatory for them as biological fathers, as they argued that if you're not doing that, that was tantamount to child abandonment and all that, and that's something that was not viewed as very acceptable in that cultural in that setting. So we see here, for example, that this one of our interviewers asking this participant, what happens to a man who takes care of his children in the community? What other men view that in the community? So he argues that you become a good example in my community if you do that. People say this man is doing the right thing, looking after his children, and he dresses and you become a positive influence to other men in the community. But as researchers, we really had to, we had to look deeper into what they were saying, and we understood that there were disparities between what would term as community perceptions of fatherhood, what is ideal, which is more like a cultural script of what fatherhood is, and what men actually did themselves, when they reported on their experiences of fathering their children and their experiences of being fathered by their own fathers. And we had to then and wonder actually whether men, when they talked about being involved in caring of their children and all that, whether they were not drawing on historical models or cultural models of fatherhood. We know that in every society there is an understanding that you have to be a good father, but there are challenges that are there, and we wonder if men, when we talk to them and they were expressing their participation in childcare, whether they were really talking about their own experiences of doing this, or whether they were just creeping on those cultural models, historical models. Sorry. But we also saw another theme that was dominant, which was a good and caring father, which we argued and we saw in this data that it was tightly correlated with a traditional but benign masculinity. And this masculinity, I would argue, it is prevalent in many settings. But in South Africa, it is really predicated on resourcefulness, responsibility, care and protection of the family in order for you to attain this masculinity. And also the other traits that you have to be able to attain in order to attain this masculinity was having a wife, was owning a house, and providing financially for your family. And this, for us in this analysis, was a clear pathway to attaining this moralized form of masculinity in this setting. So we see here one of our interviewers asking this man, how is a good father? How is he to his family? And this man argues that he's a disciplined man, he's got a wife, and it doesn't mean just because you have a wife you cannot wash dishes. A man is able to talk well with his wife, not violently, and his kids love him as a father. Because men in this setting were really poor, they didn't have financial ability to provide for their children, but there was something that they could do that they could draw from to gain some kind of honor and currency in their community, and that was having very well behaved children in the community. So men who were able, for one reason or the other, to be able to raise children who are well behaved and all that, they were viewed as very good fathers in the community. But we also noted that there were unsupportive discourses about involved fatherhood, and the man who tried to do that was perceived as an improper man. And these discourses, they disapproved of men participating in childcare, suggesting that childcare, as I argued before, was a woman's domain, and men's roles were squarely and primarily on financial provision. And this was coming from men themselves whom we interviewed and how their fathers had fathered them, and just a dominant discourse in the community about what fatherhood entails. So even they said that even for them, from their partners, they said that even if they tried to be available, because they were not working, their partners were really not appreciating them being available for coming and cuddling a child. Where is food? Where is the money for to buy for this child? So what we also saw is that those fathers who participated in childcare were mainly doing so because they were not employed, and it happened by chance that the woman would be employed and would be going elsewhere. So it was not out of the man's volition. It was a forced situation. But we also saw that there were many consequences that were experienced, task feared by these men who had to be involved in the caring of the children, and there were some derogatory labels that were attached to those men. As you see that some were perceived as fools, ridiculed for being weaklings and all that. So there were also images of a bad father in the community, and these were marked really by high levels of financial neglect for the family, domestic violence perpetrated by these fathers, and alcohol abuse. And we saw that alcohol abuse is a big issue in this community, and it appeared to play a very key role in undermining men's ability to fulfill their father roles. I'm just worried about time. So one of the things that I would like to argue very much here, and it has been argued as well in other sessions that I've attended, is the question of structural factors and their role in either facilitating or militating against involved fatherhood. And I've argued before that fatherhood here is predicated on financial provision, and these men were really struggling in that aspect of their lives. They were unemployed or underemployed and all that, and they were failing to meet this, expectation of providing for their families. And a number of them, they shared their frustrations, about not being able to meet this definition of fatherhood. And there were some indications of, psychological health for them, because they were now depressed and all that, and they couldn't provide for their children. As a result, some of them, they engage in drinking alcohol at very harmful levels, and they were not perceived as good fathers by their families. So the last 4 minutes, I'd like to just discuss and what we think that our findings have for interventions on fatherhood in this setting. I argue that what we saw, that there was a benign form of traditional masculinity that is really aspired for by many men in this study setting. And we're not arguing that these men attained or could achieve this form of masculinity. But we noted that good fathering, if you are a good father, you are able to be seen as the ideal or the good man in the community. And so our analysis really suggests that due to structural and contextual factors, including high unemployment rates, alcohol abuse, what we saw kind of happening in that community was rather a violent masculinity that happened there. Men aspired for this benign one, but they couldn't attain it, and their frustration led them to enacting a more violent masculinity towards their families. And some men that we interviewed talked about their own fathers being very violent towards their parents, making their lives at home very difficult. So my last slide is really about arguing, and I would like to hear your views about this. We try to conduct develop and implement gender transformative interventions so that we can change harmful masculinities and also to promote involved fatherhood. But my argument is that in a setting of this nature, these kinds of interventions will face considerable challenge in doing this because of the setting itself. For example, like working with poor, unemployed, and underemployed men on transforming masculinity, I argue that those interventions should simultaneously, have structural, livelihood, kind of intervention infused in these interventions. Because we're talking about men here. If we're looking, for example, in Psychology 101, we know Maslow's hierarchy of needs. These men have more pressing needs. They don't have food at home, children are crying, and we are asking them to come and sit in a hall and talk about gender and fatherhood. They have more pressing needs. They are likely not to participate fully and all that. And Pina was talking about how do we keep men coming to these interventions so that they can sit and get this kind of new content in their lives. So, but having said that, I want to caution and say that we're not saying that we should provide a masculinity, in these settings, because that is not what we would like to see. However, we know that it is valorized, it is seen as very important in that community. But what we ought to be doing, perhaps, is to make sure that we engage with them, with the men themselves, so that they can understand what this provider masculinity has, in terms of implications for them, the burden that it has for them, and to begin to educate them on saying, you are not employed, for example, and all that, but there is another way that your child needs you, and all that, to make the men understand that, but also to have some kind of community mobilization kind of intervention, which we're going to be able to change social norms about what fatherhood is about. And also, as I said, I've indicated here that alcohol abuse is a big problem in this setting. And such interventions of this nature should definitely tackle, alcohol abuse, and also, it needs to pay structural factors, that lead to men abusing alcohol, and also other forces like advertisement and all that. We saw, I think, in one of the presentations where men who drank, alcohol were seen as the real men and all that, and those interventions need to address these issues as well. I think that was my last slide. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yandita, for your excellent presentation on research and findings and challenges, as well as some suggestions. So certainly there is issues. I have also some questions, but certainly there is a lot of questions from audience. So we will discuss later. I am going to invite Mr. Clay
Jones.
for his presentation. So
Yep.
Clay Jones.
Clay Jones, right.
Clay. So please, Clay, go ahead and.
Okay. Hi everyone, thank you. My name is Clay Jones. I've worked with White Ribbon.
Just one minute. Timekeeper.
Oh, timekeeper.
Electronic.
I'm not going to need 20 minutes.
Our manager, time is not working. Just start.
Yep.
You can work.
No, you start.
I won't take 20 minutes. My name is Clay Jones. I work for White Ribbon Campaign in Canada, which is a global grassroots organization working with men to open dialogues about gender-based violence, toxic masculinity, and positive engaged fatherhood, which is what I'm here to talk about now. I'm not very good at giving presentations, so I had to take some notes here. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to discuss our qualitative research project on involved fatherhood called Give Love, Get Love, the Involved Fathers and Gender Equity Project. I'll be talking briefly on the methodology, the research findings, and the impact involved fatherhood has on the lives of family members, partners, children, extended family and family communities, as well as the lives of the fathers themselves. I can't possibly share everything in this report in the short time that I have, so I really invite you to download the project. It's for free. I've left cards on the chairs with the link to it. It's only available in English, unfortunately. And I'll also put a link on the screen at the end of my presentation, so I really encourage you to download it and read it. There's a lot of good stuff in there. I'd like to start with this reflection from Ian DeGeer, the primary researcher on this project, which is when fathers are committed to occupying fathering roles, they are likely to experience improvements in the quality of their relationships with their partners. And he expands on this a bit further in the project, stating that these fathers that we spoke with for this project recognize that positive involved fathering was a reflection of their own desire for both the child and the mother or parental partner to be happy. So, researching fatherhood. The work to understand the impact of neglectful, absent, and abusive fathering is important work, but one of the main goals of this specific research project was to understand the other end of the spectrum. To research the link between the activities of involved fathers on gender equality and the positive impact of involved fathering on families and communities. We wanted to hear from and learn about fathers who are dedicated, present, active, and involved in the lives of their children and partners. We wanted really to give them an opportunity to share their stories, and we were really ecstatic that so many fathers were willing to participate and share their stories with us. Let's see, we met with 53 fathers all across Ontario, which is a province in Canada, from major urban centers and small towns, all various different communities and all different gender identities as well. So the research, for this research paper, like all White Ribbon projects and programs, one of our non-negotiables is that we partner with other organizations working in gender justice, promoting gender equality and healthy relationships. We rarely ever take on projects all by ourselves. For this particular paper, we partnered with Dad Central Ontario, which is an organization that supports programs and agencies working with fathers, and is a well-connected resource for fathering programs in Ontario. And they're dadcentral.ca. They're an online-based resource. The research was funded by Ontario Women's Directorate, which is a provincial government agency that we work with often, who believe in working with male-identified people in order to progress their cultural shifts away from patriarchy and the harmful tenets of toxic masculinity. As I mentioned before, the report is based on qualitative findings from 53 fathers that we met with in focus groups across Ontario, whom we recruited with the help of community-based agencies like that Central Ontario, and we collected these qualitative findings to produce this report. And as I mentioned before, the primary researcher, who would probably do a better job of talking about this than I am, was Ian DeGear. So here are some of the major findings that we found in this work project. Based on what these participants disclosed to us, fathers are role modeling gender equality with their children, and by that we mean when parents are seen to be working together by their children, communicating openly about parent-related issues, and seen to be in an equal partnership by their children, they are role modeling gender equality. Involved fatherhood occurs along a continuum, a transformative journey that positively changes men and their relationships with their children. Parental leave for fathers increases attachment to and empathy for children and promotes nurturing roles in men. However, despite attempts at advocating for and advancing parental leave in Canada, there are some strong social norms that view parental leave for fathers in a negative light. So we really feel that there's more work needs to be done to promote supportive networks for dads that just simply aren't there right now. Many of these fathers also told us that prioritizing childcare over other activities led to greater emotional attachments between children and partners. Fathers are actively seeking ways to counter traditional gender stereotypes, heteronorms, and gender binaries. Aboriginal fathers' involvement in their families included close ties to their communities. And also that fathers, especially those from gay and bi communities as well as trans communities, utilize creative language with their children to describe parenting experiences beyond traditional gender binary. So what exactly do we mean by involved fatherhood? One researcher, Michael Lamb, came up with 3 very quantifiable facets of involved fatherhood. Those are accessibility, engagement, and responsibility. And by accessibility, he means the time that fathers are available to their children. Engagement is the actual time spent with children engaged in activities that promote healthy child development. And responsibility, helping to arrange activities and resources for children. However, many other researchers feel that there are as many as 15 categories of paternal involvement, and that in order to fully understand the entirety of the experience of involved fathers, it is necessary to consider not only Lamb's actionable and sort of quantifiable facets of involved fatherhood, but the cognitive nature of fatherhood, which is to say how often fathers think about their children or some aspect of their children's lives. Not just making the time, but also thinking about the time and planning. Involved fatherhood is an opportunity to challenge old generational stereotypes of the absent and unaware father. As well, we found that an increasing desire to stay at home on parental leave, which increases attachment to and empathy for children and promotes nurturing roles. However, many fathers stated that the term involved fatherhood was too academic and didn't reflect their experiences, and many felt that a much better term was active parenting. I think here's one of the. So the report is full of these stories from participants themselves, and I've only picked out a few, but I think this one really sort of, what I learned is an involved father is somebody that actually sits down, listens to their partner, listens to the needs of the family, and works with the family, and does not work independently. And so also this report really wanted to touch on how involved fatherhood sort of informs or improves or promotes gender equity, and so here are some of those findings. The fathers we spoke with felt, this is all self-disclosed information, that there was a strong connection between active parenting and gender equity and promoting healthy relationships. And then what we came to realize after reviewing all the stories was that there was 2 real main paths for fathers to promote equity. The first path with what we teach our children, and this is primary prevention work. Actively contradicting gender stereotypes by not placing limits on toys, clothes, physical activities. This is a very straightforward and easy thing for many fathers to do. A little bit more complicated is taking the time to directly engage children in conversations about the importance of gender equity. A lot of these fathers didn't really know how to approach this directly, so we know there's work to be done to sort of make that conversation a lot easier to have. The second path is enhancing the parental relationship. The importance of supporting partners, both emotionally and physically, and receiving partner support. Creating opportunities for the partners to make time for self-care. Basically taking the load off mothers is one of the major roles that fathers can play promoting gender equality. And simply being equally involved in the parenting process reflects a desire for relationships based on equality. And so we also found many benefits for the fathers themselves when they engage in active parenting. The fathers who participated in this project did not easily answer this question, however, of how active parenting could benefit their own health. Many of them had simply not considered the benefits or had never been asked about the benefits associated with their involvement. However, our researcher was able to tease out a few perceived ideas from the fathers, and these include heightened awareness of their own health, which is connected directly with a child's health and well-being. So focusing on child's health had the sort of secondary effect of forcing fathers to think about their own health. Reevaluating health concerns, making those a priority so that they could be there for their children for as long as possible. They discussed benefits to their emotional health. Being a recipient of a child's unconditional love had huge impacts on how fathers felt about themselves, improved their own sort of emotional well-being, and based on a feeling of pride of raising healthy, happy children, and children proud to acknowledge them as fathers is huge. And also an opportunity to live a different life from the one they had been growing up with. Many of the fathers view fatherhood as an opportunity to finally have agency over their own lives and to help create safe spaces for their families and give them agency as well. And I think I'd like to end. I know I have 7 minutes left, but I'd rather engage in some dialogue as opposed to me just talking at you for another 7 minutes. But I'll leave it with this. You can't really explain the emotional benefits of having a kid. Imbuing you with unconditional love, you can't fake that. The benefits of that are priceless, to feel that and have that in your life. And so here is the link to download the project. It's about 50 pages. Anyway, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Leave it up.
So, thanks, Clay, for your excellent presentation and experiences and learning, and also suggesting the benefits of fatherhood. Certainly, there is all these is very complex issues, so this is not very simple that to count the benefits. So certainly we will discuss these before opening floor. You check Mina, how long your film is? 3 minutes. So fine. I love to give you 3 minutes because even I have to give 2 minutes. So
Okay.
yeah, please go ahead.
I want to share with you the effect of the program from fathers' experiences.
Babadan gördüğünüz gibi böyle. İkinci çocuk olunca işte baba oğlumun farkına vardım. Ben babamın soyadını düşünmüyorum. Biz babadan gördük, bilmiyoruz, görmedik büyüklerimizden. Yani ailede de biz büyüklerimizden böyle bir şey görmedik.
babam da benimle sohbet eden bir insan değildi. Öyle bir baba değildi. Benim babam sert baba önünde. İşte biz de onun karşısında böyle titreyen çocuklardık.
Ben çocuğum buraya başladığımda ders yapmıyor, etmiyor. Niye yapmıyorsun? İşte deyip ben çocuğuma tokat attım mesela. Bir tokat atmıştım o günlerde. Hala böyle tüylerim diken diken oluyor aklıma geldiği için. Kendimden nefret eder bir hal alıyorum.
Ne yazık ki çocuklarımı dövdüm. Ne yazık ki diyorum. O istemeden olan şeyler. Ama dövmesem iyi olur.
Okay, I will skip the part in the middle.
İşte toplum değişti, tüm insanlar değişti. Artık babalar çocuklarıyla daha çok ilgilenir hale geldi. Ben de oğlumla şu anda en küçük fırsatımı bile başka şeylerle değerlendirmeyip oğlumla değerlendirmek istiyorum.
Kusura geldi, iki hafta yani işte. Ama şeyini okumadık tabii biz. Saçma kaç yıl burada sıyırıyoruz, orada da kaçar başka bir yere gidelim. Planı yapıyorum. Nitekim gittim okula, tabii Zeki Hoca'yı gördük, toplantıya katıldık, o akşam o ilk akşamımızda orada çok ilginç şeyler yaşadık.
Oradaki arkadaşlar gördüğümde hepsinin aile babası, benim düşünceme sahip, yakın, düşünceme yakın insanlar olduğunu gördüm.
Son 3 hafta süredir devam ettik biz. Büyük bir keyif alarak da, ben o eğitime katıldığım zaman bir nevi psikoterapi görevi gibi ondan hani büyük bir rahatlık hissediyorum orada. Doğru bildiğimiz her şeyin yanlış olduğunu orada yaşıyorsun ve doğrularını orada öğreniyorsun. Şimdi bir kez süper olayıydı. Ama sonra da baktık çakma olay bir şey yok. Biz doğrunun doğruluğunu bilmiyorduk. Bizim kendi doğrularımız vardı o kadar.
Babamın bize göstermediği sevgiyi, sıcaklığı, yakınlığı ben çocuklarıma göstermeye çalışıyorum. Babalığın en zor olan tarafı yanlış yaptığında çocuklarımın o yanlışı görüp tekrar etmesi.
Kendi ailemle yapamadığım şeyleri onlara beraber yaşamak istiyorum tabii ki. Büyük bir keyifle.
En çok gurur duyduğum özelliği baba olmak.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mina. And the film is saying many and messages. And now I am going to open the floor for questions and clarifications and comments. So I suggest to take 3 or 4 questions first, and then our panelists will respond. So please. Back, please. Yeah, start from here. No problem. Yes, please.
My name is Joachim Theisen. I work with UNICEF here in India. I have a question for Pinar. In the movie you showed how the father roles have already changed over the generations. I think all of us in this room, if we think back to our fathers and our grandfathers, we have to admit that things have changed over the time. You chose a particular program. Did you look at various other options to change? Because a lot of the programs that we are supporting, we always the challenge for us is how to go to scale, especially when it's based on face-to-face interaction. That's extremely difficult and costly, and it takes hundreds of years, especially in a country like India. So did you think of other alternatives like sitcoms like edutainment? And I'm thinking of the United States, where there's been a massive shift in attitudes towards homosexuality as a result of sitcoms since the 1970s that showed nice gay people.
Please.
Hello, my name is...
Is your name also? Share your name also.
Yes, my name is Matt Morton. I work with the World Bank here in South Asia, based here in Delhi. And a couple questions. One for Pinar. Thanks for sharing the Father Support Program. I don't know if you know this actually, but we just published a global report on gender at work, and we included a mention of your project in that report because it's one of the few fatherhood interventions that we could find that had an evaluation behind it. So my question is really on next steps related to scalability. You're working to some extent with the Ministry of Education. Are they vested in some kind of scale up of this? And are there other ministries in Turkey, like of social affairs and social welfare, that are taking interest in this and thinking about scale up post-evaluation? And for Clay, I was interested in the kind of construct for the three, I think it was engagement and accessibility and now I'm forgetting the third one, involvement maybe.
The LAM? Yeah.
Yeah, LAM, right. So it just sounded like something that could make for a good survey instrument as well, to track monitoring and progress on those kinds of indicators. And maybe it's just time use. I'm not sure, maybe not on the fourth, the cognitive function, but is there any work, or has there been any work to take that construct and develop a valid quantitative instrument out of it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Next. Yeah, please.
Hi, I'm Serkan from Turkey, Aceh. I would like to ask Candice and Clay the same question. Do you have any information in your data, fathers of fathers that you worked, how they perceive their fathers, and how their relationship with their fathers? If you have no data, and what are your comments in the work? And one last question, and how are their relations with their partners, with their wives, in your experiment, in your research? What did you see, or your comments? Thank you.
Yeah. So, can we after, please?
Thank you. My name is Shukriya. I'm from West Bengal, Calcutta. My question is to my friend Yandesa. That you have mentioned that you have faced a challenge of maternal gatekeeping, which I strongly believe that in India it is there. Of course, in other parts also there. That mother believes that though they carry for 9 months their baby, so they have a close attachment with their baby rather than father. So when a father gets, fails to get in touch with her child, sometimes the barrier comes from the mother's also. No, this is not your job. So how did you overcome this challenge? This is my question.
Great. So can we start with Yandesa? Yes. Thank you. I'll start with your question. As I said that in my study, that the participants did talk about their own experiences of being fathers, and they did not describe a very, loving relationships with their own fathers. I mean, and I would hammer on the fact that these the participants in our study were coming from a particular, context where there was a lot of violence and a lot of absent fathers, because the fathers were away and all that. And they said that they did not have much relationships with their own fathers because they were away. They would only come back once a year from the mines or from, sugar plantation, which is a source of income in that area. So they didn't have a very close relationship with their fathers. And there were others who described a relationship with fathers who were drinking very heavy, at harmful levels.
and then when they come back from home, they will then cause chaos in the family and all that. But also I don't want to paint a very bleak kind of picture. There were also some pockets of evidence that some were saying that their own fathers were good parents to them and all that. And they define that really through financial provision, in that context, to say that my father, he cares about us, he sends money home at all times and all that, and that's how they saw his view as a good father. And also, as I said, that this qualitative data was part of the larger study. So we followed them up, and then we also interviewed their parents at 6 months, their partners at 6 months, and also at 12 months. And the intervention had ended 3 months, and then we had a 6-month follow-up, which was around 3 months after the end of the intervention that they had gone through. So at 6 months, we found very positive kind of reviews from the partners and all that. However, when the intervention had been removed from these men, and they were back in their communities now and all that, we all know with behavioral intervention that the effect tends to wear off after some time. Men are challenged by the setting that they are in. The environment doesn't understand this new behavior from these men. And at 12 months, a number of partners reported men going back into their old behaviors. The men who had stopped drinking alcohol had gone back to drinking. Men who had kind of been more involved in caring, towards their children.
After what month?
12 months. Now a 12-month follow-up intervention. Yeah, that's where we found that the kind of the effect of the intervention is kind of worn off. Yes. When it comes to maternal gatekeeping, from this data, I would say that we don't have much data except for the fact that men were reporting this. Because they are not married to the mothers of their children, so culturally they had no access to those children, and they understood it. And then they were very frustrated about that because they said that they wanted to be involved in the lives of their children. However, they did not have the money to pay for the hourly, to pay for donation and all that. As a result, they were closed off. And secondly, I will speak from what I know from literature now to try to answer you. We know that from literature that some men claim that mothers would kind of close off that space and say that I am a mother, so it's my space, and then some men say that is frustrating even if they want to be involved in caring for their children. They are pushed away by their mothers, their partners, to say, provide financially, provide security in your home, but this type of caring of nurturing the child is not. Thank you. Mr. Clay, would you respond?
Sure. Sorry, you said you were at the World Bank? Yes, sorry. The 3 things from LAM, the accessibility, the engagement, and the responsibility, they're very quantifiable, and we came out with those in 81 or 84, I can't remember. And since then, the shift has really gone away from that. It didn't really provide, the cognitive was really missing, and it didn't matter how much time you spent with your kid. If it was time yelling at them and screaming at them, then it certainly didn't help. I don't have all the information. I wasn't a primary researcher, but I'd be happy to, I don't know if I can get your business card. I'd love to connect further on that and share some. But I haven't used it. This is the first time I had encountered these 3 things within this research project. So I feel like it was universally sort of left to the wayside, unfortunately. And you asked about fathers' relationship with their fathers. It was a fairly equal split in this, with fathers that had great relationships with their dads. Nothing to complain about at all, but just that the culture had shifted so much from the time from the 70s or the 60s that they still felt the need to father differently. Not that it was a negative, not sort of panning their fathers for the way they fathered. It was just sort of, they were, a product of their time, basically. And then the other half said basically, our fathers were terrible. I'm going to take this opportunity to never do what my dad did. And they felt great about that. So it was a sense of empowerment for them. And the other thing about relationships with their partners, it sort of skewed in this. We were really looking for fathers that had great relationships with their partner. So basically, they all did. They all felt that how active they were with their children had totally improved their relationship with their partners. So that's sort of what we were looking for. So those are the fathers we talked to. So.
Thank you. Ina, do you respond?
In the first question, you asked me about other alternatives like sitcom, in addition to structured father support program. In the past, we carried out a TV program. Its name was "It's Nice to Be a Father," and the fathers were sharing their experiences on TV, especially their celebrities and popular people and some lay people. Also there was some information for fathers how to support their children. It was a good experience for us, and not very recent, but maybe in the future, maybe in 2 years, we are planning to re-experience this kind of program. In our mind, we are planning to move our sessions, father support program sessions, to the TV in order to make the watchers, the people, to follow our sessions on TV. We can reach many people by this way. And for the second question, you asked me about other minority ministries. Yes, in Turkey there is Family and Social Policy, Ministry of Family and Social Policy. We tried to implement our program in collaboration of this ministry too, but the staff is too busy, and then we started to make some kind of awareness raising activities with them. We gave some capacity building training for their personnel, for their staff, about gender equality especially. There are other alternatives too, and we generally seek for these alternatives, but our experience showed us that the Ministry of National Education is the ideal partner for many years. But also there are some international organizations too, Young Women, European Union are also our sponsors for our project. So I think NGOs should find some collaboration to implement their programs in long lasting period.
Thank you. We can take one round more, at least 2-3 questions. So, anybody, any questions? Yeah, please.
Hi, I'm Manjiri. I work for UNICEF in Gujarat. I'm very impressed by the father support group idea that you were talking about. I had a question regarding, I was wondering, you were working with parents, fathers, of children up to about 11 years of age. I'm sure adolescence brings up another set of challenges for fathers and so on and so forth. Were there any spaces where fathers children with adolescents, in the adolescent age group could also come together? Do you think that the learnings of this set of fathers groups could be easily extrapolated to the other set?
Any more? Some more questions? No? Yeah.
You are so right that adolescence is another critical period to be intervened. But ATEL's profession is especially on early child education and childhood period. That's why we don't touch adolescence yet. We are planning to improve new programs for the fathers and mothers of 0 to 3 years old, but adolescents are not in our scope because it's not our profession.
Yeah. So, thank you. So, this is my time. Yeah. I also got the 7 minutes. So, just concluding, our presenters were really excellent. And few people are sitting in South Asia, and we are also looking the father in a very complex mode. So, and we have to understand the whole complexity of the fatherhood. Sometimes it looks very technical, very technical. So our panelists very clearly, all panelists raised that we have to think and link with the gender binary, where what is the social norm, and particularly we have also see in the context of the father and where we are looking the father. Approaches involve very clearly explained that they are using the individual education to the community education and mass education, and this is very interesting that if you are only depend on the individual, it is very difficult, and actually individuals cannot set up a norm. Individuals can show example but cannot set up a social norm. And if the root cause is social norm, which is hurdling the fatherhood, then the mass awareness is very essential in the complex way. There was a very good question came out from the India, and actually there is a tradition that the father is not allowed for particular time, particular days. In some days, and if it starts very liberal community, in rural community which is very liberal, it starts 1 month father cannot visit and see the child to the 6 days. So this is, and father is not allowed to enter in the labor room. That is the one very interesting thing. There is a need to reflect more on the for Sinar is for who are our audience? Is the children? Is the father? Which father? Violent father, absent father, living father, educated father, uneducated father. So father is not very hegemonic group also. Even you are going to father, that's a very complex issue. And certainly there is a, what is the key message? That is very interesting. What you want to see actually, and what types of caring you want. Actually, what is the vision of providing that care in the home? Here is a lot of within today globalization, privatization scenario. There is lots of competition. You can find the father is sitting at home and trying to make best their child. Particularly in South Asia, everybody has to become a very good, very rich, and very competent, whether the administrator, whether the technologist. So all the competition is going on. So that can be also done. And there you found the South Asia also people very good father, and supporting the all so many times conflict issues, supporting the religious boundary issues. Fundamentalism also supporting. So sometimes very good father and supporting the very other unhuman rights thing. At the same time we found that in South Asia there is a lot of example that we found a big huge contribution in social work, social activists. They never spend any time with their children. So they are very good person, very what you can say educator, good person for the community, for the society, for the country, but they never spend any time to their children. There is no responsibility. So we have to see both sometimes. If you are very good in public, but you are not in house, and you are very good in house, you have no responsibility taking the in public. So sometimes, and these are was just trying to pull up. We have to, not in a comprehensive way, we have to see the various ways. Father is alcoholic, father is unemployment, father is rural, father is absent, father sitting in the urban area, and everybody is talking about the gender role. And so one very good is unpack provider masculinity. That I love to see that. This is the one thing very essential that you mentioned, that if you really want to deal the issue of caring, we have to unpack the provider masculinity. This is the one root cause. There are many root causes, but the one root cause is very much there, and we have to deal of that. At the same time, we have to see that if in South Asia we have a very concept, we are trying to discuss, when we link everything is alcohol. So many fathers alcohol, but very good father. And so many fathers never drink, but they are very violent. So this is not the link in the abusive alcohol, and particularly in South Asia we see that if we link with the alcohol, then we put the reason from the social norm, social, patriarchal, discriminatory norm to an individual behavior. So that is very interesting thing, and that we have to always think out. The play was, we know his whole background is coming from the big campaign, White Ribbon campaign, and they are working on the whole issue of care and link with the relationship. So it is very clearly showed your study also, and found in the South Asia also, that people have no relationship, and sometimes we found the father is living with mother of child and nearly no communication. That you found in the South Asia. In South Asia, the good quality of father and the best father, maybe the people sitting from the Pakistan and Western India, and even Western India, father cannot walk with their own children. Even father can walk with their grandchildren, but cannot walk with their own children. Again, we have to understand the whole issue of not only the providing masculinity, but we have to understand also the whole role of father given, the provider, protector, educator, and discipline maker. And then father taught that if you are going to, you have to maintain the discipline. So mother always use that stick. If you are not doing this, I will tell your father. So father will become a stick for all children. That is, we have to also understand. This is very interesting thing. So I found that very relationship is the crucial point. At the same time, we have to challenge the issue of, certainly we need the provider, certainly we need the protector, we need the protector for children, but we need the friendship with children, where the emotional support with children. When child needs the support and unable to deal, where is father? Why child we have so many cases coming now in Latin America to the South Asia also, that when child unable to deal their problems, they are going to commit to suicide, and the pressure is used to making them best in the world, and that is major problem. Whole the coming the globalization thing, and the approach what he is also suggesting is very participatory way. What you are going to design the session, how you are going to approach, what approach you are going to adopt, what session should be there. This is you are going to involve. Those are your audience, and that is very interesting. And sometimes in project mode we found that there is a manual, there is a session, there is a team session you have to deliver in the community, and you found the good father restraint. Ridiculous. You have to see. This is, maybe the medical will work, maybe the chemical will work, but society doesn't work. Maybe each person is different way. We have the same situation, so we have to understand. And because we are dealing with the whole social norm, then the whole diversity is very interesting. I have one concern I have not listened, where there was one thing that the diversity is there with the LGBT group. But when any father found the children are transgender, so how they are reacting there? And certainly people, when children are in either disabled or what you say, differently able, but how that type of children is. So even the father is not such a children is in various situations is there, and we have to, and he found that we can do everything with I found very difficult in South Asia to deal easily the trans. I don't find anybody come, my child is, even the adolescent child is transgender. It is very difficult. It's very difficult to accept that due to rule. The other thing also that father, absent father linked with the employment sometimes is different issue. Poor father is different issue. Whether the role of caring is relate only to address the poverty or relate to gender equality. That is important. If we are going to work to address the gender discriminatory social norm, then our station, our approach and design is different. If you're going to then working with the only poor people is maybe not enough. And certainly the NGO framework, our work will go in the poor people. But at the same time, maybe there is I missed out. Certainly there is provision. I know your work also that caring work needs to be started. Education and care need to be started very early also. So if children play with the gun and with the violent toys, how they become the caring? That is the one, and it is very essential. So I am in South Asia, I am also working with group of the engaging men and boys, and we are raising that we need the caring father, because if father is caring, he will not go to kill anyone. So caring father will also able to deal the other social norm, particularly the very violent atmosphere. So it's better to, and now our slogan is no more violent toys and no more violent boys. If violence is, if boys is going to learn the cooking and caring is better, and they will never pick up the art. So that is things, and I love your presentation and your insight and your certainly the future comments, suggestions. So thank you all of you. Thanks to all of you for your excellent presentation, and thanks to all